I feel like we're in Kangaroo Court. Or maybe Toontown. This specific Toontown, the one from Yu-Gi-Oh! Maximilian Pegasus' deck. Not the fun Toontown that Disney made. Love that game so much. Love just beating cogs in that game. Because we are in Toontown. Dr. Fauci went to testify today, and he immediately invoked his Fifth Amendment right because he said he has nothing to say to these people because of the slanderous remarks they keep making against him and how adamant they are to catch him in unreasonable questioning. So he decided to be quiet about the entire thing.
Served at the NIH for over 54 years. 38 of those as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Over that period, I proved that I believe in and respect the value of legitimate congressional oversight. In fact, I testified before and or briefed Senate and House committees well over 200 times over those 38 years. During and after the COVID pandemic, I have appeared multiple times for hearings in the Senate and the House, usually under oath, and sat for several days-long transcribed sworn interviews answering questions about the very issues that are now the subject of this hearing. However, given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Thank you.
We now
Immediately after I saw this, the White House posted a link. The truth about COVID. Just want to point this out. Who is the president during COVID? Donald Trump. I want you to remember the president during COVID was Donald Trump, the same president who said this.
Thank you very much. So I ask Bill a question that probably some of you are thinking of if you're totally into that world, which I find to be very interesting. So supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see, but the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
Much like a very important day in September on the 11th of it, I'm not gonna forget that, Mr. Trump. Donald Jamarcus. But anyway, let's read what the White House said. Starts off immediately with Donald Trump posing intimidatingly the true origins of COVID-19. Lab leak. This is insane. I just want to point this out. This was obviously pre-planned and pre-prepped, just having Donald Trump center in the middle as if he's very phallic between lab and leak. It should say labby leak. He looks like an eye right there. Pretty fun. So let's keep going. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. Gonna state this now. I don't know where COVID-19 came from. Thought it came from China. Really didn't do much research outside of that. Just kind of assumed it came from China, and that's kind of it. That's kind of what I assumed. Pretty sure it evolved naturally, but it came from China as a lab leak. That's kind of what I thought. I don't know if this this is a conspiracy theory or not, but that's all. I didn't really look that into it. I didn't look that deep into it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Does anybody else think that? Comment below where you thought COVID-19 came from before I read this entire thing. Where do you think COVID-19 came from? Because I assumed it came from China. That's pretty much it. That's all I knew. That's pretty much where I got. The virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. That this runs contrary to previous pandemics where there are multiple spillover events. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain of function research, gene altering organism specific charge at inadequate biosafety levels. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. Upon reading those 4 things, it does in my mind sound like propaganda for me to hate China and to push that China was developing a bioweapon to attack the entire world. It's kind of what it sounds like. This sounds like deep propaganda, in my opinion. By nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to describe the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. This is interesting. It feels as though this came out of nowhere. I don't know where this came from. I see. Okay, he's trying to pin this on Biden right now. I see this. It says that Biden gave him a pardon. It seems as though he got an executive grant of clemency and a pardon for what he did during the COVID-19 stuff. I see. Dude, there are 557 pages of nonsense here discrediting Dr. Fauci. I'm not going to read all this. I think the Trump supporters know, and Trump knows that nobody's going to read this. Who's going to read 557 pages? I guess it's all there. I'll put a link in the top comment if you want to read this, but I'm not reading all that. That's crazy. Oh, I get it. Trump's vain attempt to rewrite the history of COVID is disgusting because we all watched his administration handle this in real time. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in real time, but he was saying, there's not going to be any more cases. They're going to disappear. We don't have to wear masks. The public health officials, they don't matter. They don't matter to me. He was promoting unproven treatments, speculated about disinfectant during a televised briefing, and then he turned basic medical precautions into another somehow culture war. I think we should not wear masks. This 6 feet stuff is stupid. It's dumb. The country was confused, frightened, sick, and dying, and the president was treating every press conference as an opportunity to protect his image. And now, years later, he wants everyone to forget the chaos and remember one name, Anthony Fauci, however you say his name, Big Anthony, Big Ant, I don't know how to say his last name. The memory hole being dug in plain sight is crazy. I just can't handle his level of corruption. I just want to point something out. I'll never forget the slush fund that he tried to get with everybody. Trump was trying to have this slush fund where he was trying to get people that raided the Capitol on January 6th. He was trying to do this whole thing. The January 6ers, he was trying to get taxpayers to pay for their legal fees. I'm never going to forget that. It genuinely appears that Trump and his allies are trying to place the entire emotional weight of the pandemic onto one doctor. Every death, lockdown, school closure, vaccine argument, business failure, government mistake, changing recommendation, and unanswered question just getting thrown into a giant pile and placed at Fauci's feet. That is absurd. Fauci did not control governors, hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, foreign governors, state legislators, the CDC, the FDA, Congress, and the entire scientific community, or the President of the United States to lie. He was an advisor working inside a massive emergency, yet Trump's movement talks about him as if he personally designed every policy, created the virus, released it, hit the cure, forced every mandate, and controlled the entire world. The scale of this accusation is so vast that I do not grasp what Trump is actually trying to accomplish. Before the hearing was even done, the White House page was up. The White House already released the page. They released that Twitter link, and the hearing wasn't even over. They already had this page organized. Whether Fauci did anything, didn't even matter what Fauci said, they were going to release this page regardless of whatever happened. We have politicians holding hearings built around accusations, media personalities repeating the same talking points, and millions of supporters treating suspicion, just suspicion, as evidence. Fauci invoked his constitutional right to be quiet.
Say he's quiet. That means he must have done something. That's evil. That's pure evil.
Dude, I think he was just working in a pandemic. Better than Trump did. I can say that for sure. These people don't want answers. They want a confession. They want a villain whose face can absorb years of grief, anger, loneliness, death, lost income, missed funerals, damaged education, and all this political humiliation. Fauci has become a symbol they can punish so Trump never has to stand alone with his own record. It's stupid. The scapegoat is a time-honored tradition, and Trump is a master of the craft. He finds a target, assigns blame, and then watches his supporters do the rest. Fauci was working from the available evidence during a new and rapidly changing outbreak. Recommendations change as scientists learn more about the transmission, symptoms, treatments, masks, vaccines, and the long-term effects. Wanna know why the process is messy? Because science is messy during an emergency. You can't actually test things when an emergency is going on. Responsible doctors revise their advice when new information arrives. Conspiracy thinking begins when a conclusion comes immediately. That's how conspiracy thinking begins, and it forces every new fact to support that conspiracy. Fauci's job was to make judgments under uncertainty without announcing every rumor as fact. Trump regularly did the opposite. He repeated hopeful claims, improvised public like he's disgusting, attacked convenient information, and treated confidence as a replacement for any accuracy you could possibly have. The difference between the two men was the difference between science and the performance that Trump wanted to enact. It's stupid. Do I think Fauci should be investigated? Obviously I do. This man's decisions, his statements, his emails, his funding oversight, and role in the government deserve investigation. Every powerful official deserves scrutiny, because I don't like any of these guys. I don't. Especially after a catastrophe that killed, I don't know, millions around the world. Scrutiny requires evidence, context, patience, patience, crazy, and a willingness to accept answers that may be complicated. What are we watching right now? You know what we're watching? It resembles punishment first and investigation second. Obviously, they think Fauci is guilty, regardless of whatever they say, regardless if he's proven 100% innocent. It's corrupt. He's stupid. All these hearings are just a performance, and all this is stupid. See? And Fox News is jumping on this, and everybody's jumping on this. This is really stupid. Oh, you know what's really pissing me off? This was really pissing me off. Trump is presenting himself as this brave revealer of hidden truth while he was president during the most important period of the pandemic. He had the authority, he had access to intelligence, he appointed officials, controlled the executive branch, commanded enormous federal resources, and stood before the country almost every day. He cannot transform himself into an innocent spectator who was deceived by one government doctor. Trump was the leader. Leadership means you have to have responsibility and admit you're wrong. A president cannot demand credit for Operation Warp Speed, economic relief, travel restrictions, and vaccine development while handing every failure to Fauci. Either his decisions mattered or they did not. He wants ownership of every success and immunity from every consequence. What is wrong with you? That is a child playing king is what we're witnessing. And as I last checked, we don't want any more kings in this country. We don't want kings. No kings, right? It just feels kind of cruel. Turning a public health doctor into a target of endless rage, Fauci received threats, his family received threats, his face became merchandise, propaganda, and a political punching bag. People talk about imprisoning him with so much excitement. It has very little to do with discovering the origin of COVID. They want revenge for the entire experience of the pandemic. And Trump understands how useful their anger is. He feeds it, directs it, gives it a name, and tells his supporters that their suffering came from a corrupt doctor rather than a devastating virus, systemic failures, uncertainty, scientific uncertainty, political dysfunction, and leadership that repeatedly made the situation worse. Trump mishandled COVID. No amount of dramatic language on an official website erases that history. Fauci may have made mistakes. Agencies may have withheld information. China's government may have concealed crucial evidence. A laboratory-related origin remains possible, and I think that deserves some serious investigation. Those facts still do not absolve Trump of minimizing the danger, confusing the public, undermining health guidance, politicizing masks, promoting unsupported ideas, and placing his personal image at the center of a national emergency. The campaign against Fauci is so stupid. They're just trying to relocate blame. Stupid. It is easier to build a villain than to admit the president failed when the country needed clear, disciplined, honest leadership the most. This is stupid. Not really a fan of this at all. Well, anyways, that's all I gotta say about this. Let me know your thoughts about the entire situation. I'm very curious how you feel about Fauci and all this stuff and that variety, so go ahead and comment that down below. Now, some announcements. I'll be at YomaCon the end of October. Just wanted to let you know that I'll be at YomaCon doing 10 panels. It's in October. It's in Detroit, Michigan. Go ahead and look that up. Also, I got 2 channels. That's right. I got Cyril's Plays and Cyril's Side Thoughts. Those 2 channels need more subscribers, trying to get 10,000 by the end of August on both those channels. That'd be pretty cool. And the final announcement is I have Patreon starting at $1 a month. You can donate any amount. There's different tiers, and I appreciate that. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace. Bye.
I'm your nigga night, be my loyalties low. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.